first of all, due respect to Prime Minister of India, and the state at which India is, we are also trying to contribute something to that particular landscape. Vistara is a brand which is an emerging brand. It's a great place to work, and innovation is a core value of Vistara. Not many organizations will have courage to put innovation as a core value, and that tells you something about DNA of what this company will be. Since you started with the ease of if I can coin this particular ease of democracy with respect to India, we think every day, every moment in Vistara, how we can simplify things, how we can make them better, how we can contribute to our consumers while making our employees happy. And that's the core motivation for having this particular value. And that's a core motivation for me as a technologist to think and always be in that thinking mode, with a motivation to simplify things, motivation to help my colleagues, motivation to make things better for my consumers. With that perspective and with that core DNA of Vistara, we have invested and we think about certain technologies, and we are in a journey of experimentation and then stabilization of those technologies, which are namely robotics. We have arguably created world's first airline robot. And idea is to create different kinds of robots as we see success out of this particular experimentation, both from the perspective of customer experience and also ease of operations, with empathy towards my own colleagues as a central theme. That's one. Second thing, which our desire is to go beyond airline. Our desire is to ensure that people and the ecosystem in which we work improves. Okay, and if that improves in our small way, we are contributing back to this great country, which is blockchain. So we are working on a blockchain platform. And we have started in a very, very small way in terms of high integrity of our engineering systems, and slowly we will gravitate towards automation of engineering with a blockchain as a platform. Third one, again, it's in the public eye, is we have contributed in DigiYatra, which was initiative of government, and we fully support that. We have completed experimentation with one airport within India. Results are coming in. Initial results are very, very encouraging, and we will continue to do this experimentations with other airports. That's another example where we are co-creating with our within our ecosystem and within our fraternity. That's a biometrics example. And then we are experimenting on different technologies, whether it is combination of AI and IoT. IoT, one of the projects which I'm extremely fond of is to ensure safety of my colleagues and safety of my colleagues who don't work in a head office environment, who are cabin crew, who are pilots. Their journey is safe. How they are picked, when they are picked, which car they take, do they reach airport safely, do they reach airport on time, and all that stuff. So it's a interesting project where you converge, social AI and IoT together to create results. we are just on the verge of rolling that out. And then results will say whether it's a success or failure. There are other things which we are doing in a combination of robotics and AI, which are in the cognitive sphere, where we are trying to find out how machines will think and what kind of work these machines can do. Currently, we have done in the consumer experience space. We think that we will take it further, combining voice intelligence, combining cognitive intelligence, using deep learning more than machine learning, and then with robotics as a shell to bring all of them together in the sphere of engineering diagnostic, in the sphere of airport operations and all that stuff. So fundamentally, these are the 4 core areas, AI, biometrics, blockchain, and robotics, where we are investing, and we think they will play an important role in the future of any airline. We don't think about them. As I said, this is a very legacy approach of organizations who think about failure before. This is one, this is one place in this particular organization where we encourage fearlessness, where we encourage courage. We don't encourage mistake once you have done it. You are not supposed to repeat that particular mistake because that is expensive. But we encourage ideas, and when people come up with ideation, we encourage them to take those ideas into experimentation. We are not a very large airline, but we are an airline with a very, very modern outlook. We are an airline which has consciously and courageously written innovation as the core value. So we don't shy in terms of funding those ideas. Some of those ideas come from within Vistara. Some of those ideas come from a startup ecosystem within India, and we encourage those ideas. We don't think about mistakes, but of course, once a mistake happens, we are quick to get rid of those particular ideas, or we identify where exactly that mistake was and how quickly we can germinate that particular idea into production so that we can recover that particular mistake. It's a very simple, common sense based approach, but it's a very, very courageous methodology. Most ideation which has happened within Vistara, they are organic. Okay, they're actually not expensive because it's a garage-like feel. Okay, so we are not at that particular stage. Neither we believe in that structured methodology to start with, where it goes through series of project managers and series of spend managers to qualify a particular idea. It's a open Vistara prides itself in open workspace, right? And when you are talking about innovation in a garage-like fashion in an open workplace, anyone can come with an ideation. Anyone can approach anyone who is responsible for innovation. Anyone who feels like that they want to do innovation and they want to lead innovation, they are free to do that. We don't put structures and boundaries to start with, because idea and intent is to make this as a core part of culture. Not a separate division, not a separate department. What you are asking, it happens if you basically say, hey, by the way, this innovation is a separate division, that's a separate department. That's not my vision, that's not what I want. I want this to be core value. I want everyone to think about how to make their lives better, how to make lives of people whom they touch better, and few of them how to basically evolve and contribute into the whole ecosystem of an airline and take airline better. And some of them may even go beyond that, and they will become entrepreneurs in their own rights or within the umbrella of Tata Singapore Airlines. So that's the whole idea. Idea is not to create buckets of spend or to create buckets of departments or to create multiple designations and put them and make them, hey, by the way, they are owners of innovation. If you really ask me, There is no owner of an innovation. Everyone owns innovation. There are some people who do only ideation. There are some people who do only design. There are some people who only do marketing of those ideas. There are some people who basically engineer those particular ideas. There are some people who adopt those particular ideas. And it can be anyone in Vistara. I don't know that answer, quite frankly. One thing which I know, I don't know how structurally innovation should be. There are several books written on that. There are several research which has gone into them, and the research varies from mindfulness behavior versus a highly disciplined VC-oriented, startup-oriented approach. What I know for sure that if you really have to ensure that innovation happens, and it happens successfully in any organization, irrespective of which domain. First, you have to encourage your own colleagues to be free, to be open, to experiment, to quickly fail and recover. And that's very important. And second thing, quick funding, not large funding. A lot of people think about large funding. I'm talking about quick funding. And when it comes to quick funding, it can be in multiple thousands, it can be multiple lakhs. Okay. And what it says that, hey, you have this great idea, try it. I'm willing to fund you. Okay. I may not believe in your idea to an extent that I'm going to fund you for millions of dollars, but I'm willing to trust you. Even if I don't believe in you, even if I am not convinced about your idea per se, try it, but fail quickly. Okay? Or prove that I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, and then show me the success metrics, show me the success by demonstrating it. The point which I'm trying to make over here, I don't believe in writing white papers. I believe in people. And neither I believe in only dreams. I believe in people that they ideate and they quickly build things, and they build things in the context of the problem they are solving or in the context of uplifting of an industry. And these are the only two parameters I look at. Whether some startup is coming from outside or whether someone from Vistara, within Vistara, they are trying to build something. There are two kinds of success. One kind of success is there's a community which believes in these products now, okay, and that has happened. Okay, there is a. In fact, quite frankly, there are a lot many people who believe in robotics, and sometimes I'm apprehensive whether this is going to work or not. That I call as success. But success in terms of adoption, and that adoption getting into industrialization of robotics or biometrics or blockchain or AI, that it will take some time, because these technologies and the use cases are in a disruption phase. They themselves are not stable. So let me give you an example. Current robot which we have created, if you basically ask that particular robot anything about Vistara as an airline, where do you want to go, what is this particular airline about, where is this particular gate, is this on time or not, and then we will take it further to do more things. There is a huge accuracy of machine learning algorithm. Accuracy is very, very high. Okay. Second part, obstacle tracking. Can it go through my lounge and not fall or not hit anything? That accuracy is very, very high. If I basically take this particular robot and put it into a public sphere that anyone can ask any question, which is very cognitive way, okay, the questions which are beyond the realms of a domain, accuracy is pretty low.
Yeah.
Okay, because then it gets into a unsupervised learning zone, right? And when it gets into unsupervised learning, it will take some time to evolve. Okay.
Right.
If I basically take this particular robot and put it somewhere within a very busy airport, okay, then it will require some stability, some time to learn how to find the shortest path, how to approach a person, how to approach an obstacle, how to pass through an obstacle. So success and failure are mixed from a tech perspective. From an adoption perspective, it is successful. Otherwise, I will not get fund or funding itself for this particular product. And every other thing, DigiYatra is other one. We have done DigiYatra with an airport. We are testing it for one flight. Now, initial results have been good, but if operating cost and operating cycle time reduction happens through this, then we will get into a much more advanced version, and with many other slots and many other flight times, and with many other airports. So as a tech, it is success. As an experimentation, it is success. And adoption, initial success is there. Otherwise, why would my passengers in the live environment will roll it? Why would my own colleagues? Why would my own marketing and PR team will believe in me and make it as public? Why would government will believe? Why would an airport? So that is success. Whether it will be a trendsetter and an established trendsetter, time will tell. Okay, and all these examples which I'm giving you, they are all in that particular phase. I'm giving you examples which are successful experimentation, but time will tell based upon their full-fledged adoption in this form or maybe in some other form. There are two aspects of technology. One is information security and other is privacy. Okay. When it gets into a zone of privacy, you have to get an approval from anyone. Okay. That has to be done. There should not be any question. We are part of a democracy. Our citizens have got rights. Our citizens are our passengers and our customers. Their rights need to be respected. There is no questions on that. So when it comes to privacy, it's a pretty straightforward one. When it comes to security, whether it is biometrics or whether it is one transaction in my revenue management system or one transaction in my accounting system, that has to be impeccable. Okay. I don't consider biometric security to be any different than a security of any other information which I have. For example, when I basically take a boarding card, there is information about customer, there is information about the price at which I have done a transaction for this particular journey and all that stuff. All those things are also as important as biometrics. Okay. Hence, they have to be secured, and we should be responsible in making sure that that particular information is secure. Having said that, chances of breaches in emerging technologies are more because knowledge, when it comes to enterprise today, most of that knowledge is coming through consumer-based tech stack. Things used to be very different 12 years back, when enterprise stack used to dictate consumer behavior or consumer tech stack. Now consumer tech is far more advanced than enterprise tech. Okay. For example, cloud. Cloud is way more superior infrastructure than enterprise server base of most enterprises. Mobile phone is a very potent computing device which anyone has. You don't have to be literate in computer science engineering or electronics engineering to write a code. Okay. Those challenges become far more complex when it comes to things like biometrics, because they are in an emerging phase, how they have been used. As a science, it is a very old science, but its utility, its usage today, and its admiration and its adoption in the consumer space is way more than mine. I'll give you a very simple example. You use a fingerprint to open most devices now, yeah, which is mobile phone. They are ahead in that race. How many enterprise applications use fingerprint, right? They're still, you have to type in username and password. So that is a problem which is an enterprise problem. So whenever a fingerprint becomes a mode of primary authentication, enterprise will struggle.
Yeah.
Okay, but consumers and the consumer stack is already, so this is one example of a consumer stack coming under enterprise, and enterprise are struggling with that. So that's my take on biometrics.
So enterprise is lagging.
Enterprise is today, at least as of today, enterprise is one step behind consumer stack.
So smart CIOs will put enterprise on a path to catch up.
I don't think there's any other option. I think I think this trend will continue. I think convergence of, it's a done deal. Convergence of consumer stack and enterprise stack is already happening. Whether it is a CIO, whether it is a CEO, whether it is a chief operating officer, whether it is a head of security, whether it's CISO, anyone who doesn't believes in this particular thing, I think they are just delaying a problem which they're going to get hit with.
Right. So how do you manage the risk of failure in innovation journey?
How do I manage? Look, few commonsensical ways. I don't use a particular methodology. Structurally, Vistara has a proper procurement process of any tech. Structurally, Vistara has got a very nimble way of getting sponsorship. Okay, they basically guarantee to a large extent that there is a consensus. So we believe in consensus. There's a consensus before you back a particular idea. Risks or failure related to tech per se is altogether a different ball game. We do enough research. We are very, very good in doing quick pilots. Okay, we are one of the pioneers in using and experimenting with tech. So we directly work with OEMs. We directly work with manufacturers of technologies. We have extremely good relationships and contracts with them. We work with their labs also. And this overall idea of encouraging ideation but failing quickly helps us to mitigate that particular risk or failure. But honestly, we don't think about failure. We actually think about, hey, tell us, instead of saying 100 ways to fail or 100 issues why this will not be successful, we basically think about, hey, does this idea has got a merit? Will it change lives of our own colleagues? Will it change lives of people whom we touch? Will it change lives of experience of our own consumers? Will it take industry forward? And sometimes we think, hey, can we create a very unique intellectual property out of it? And sometimes we think, hey, can we even create a startup out of it? Okay, that's how we think. So honestly, we don't think about failures that much. We are very careful with our choices. We do our homework very, very well. We ensure that once we are not very confident, once there is no consensus, we encourage quick pilots and quick results. And that's the attitude and methodology we carry. Very, very simple, agile methodology we carry. Only mentors and teachers are young folks in Vistara, and I say this with full responsibility and honesty. Their point of view, I'm a computer science engineer who has learned computers and its science and engineering in classroom. These guys are born with mobile phones, a computing device which I actually had to queue up to in a lab when I was doing my engineering, right? That's one. Second thing, I firmly believe that any generation, and especially any generation in a democracy which comes after you, is far more superior generation because they are far more open and they are full up with enthusiasm and ideas. So that touches me. In fact, most of my energy comes from them. I will not call, wisdom is a very powerful word, so I will not call wisdom. Only help which I think, or only addition which I think which I contribute is I can see a little bit further based upon my own successes and tons of failures. So I have this maybe a third eye which can say that, hey, don't waste too much of time. Time is the most precious commodity which you have, because this will fail, and this will fail because of these facts and this logical reasoning. I think that's the only thing. I'm a biggest fan of this youth and this exuberance of youth in Vistara, and I really learn from them.